Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Eurc Open Qualifier number 2, sponsored, of course, by Psyonix. I am Ejam, and joined on the desk with me today is Morky, Formal, and Dennis. And this first matchup, which we're just going to cover now, it's going to be Ugent up against Southampton. Now, Morky, I believe you were doing a bit of research for Ugent for me.
Yeah, Ugent, absolutely
sorry.
great team. Lunar, Sazzles, and Bilbo TV, of course, used to sub for Dignitas. Fantastic team. You know, they haven't played a lot, unfortunately, recently, but they are a very good team. They're a team that should do really well. You know, some mechanical players, of course, Bilbo, of course, former sub for one of the greatest teams in the world at the moment. Just absolutely fantastic. So it's going to be very, very difficult, I think, for Southampton to find a way through, but Ghent haven't played a lot, so that could be the one thing that Southampton have in their favour.
And Form, what about yourself? What can you tell us about this Southampton side? They just won 2-0, but was it a dominant scoreline, or were they just barely winning against Edinburgh?
It was pretty dominant, actually. Had a little peek at sort of how they went before against one of the Edinburgh schools. And yeah, it was a 4-1, 2-1, I believe. So the second game, not quite as strong, but in a best of 3, where every game has that extra air of importance, to see them kind of cruise their way through that first round can be a promising sign for a team that typically kind of sits, you know, more middle-y, more towards the bottom. Expectations for this squad might not be the highest. However, sometimes when that momentum goes your way and going into a best of 3 as an underdog, it's kind of the ideal situation for that elusive upset.
It is. And Dennis, there's so many good players on the sets of teams. Is there any name in particular that would stand out to you out of the 6 players in this matchup?
One of them has to be Bilbo from Ugent, and people who are not really familiar with the name Bilbo, well, he's actually a ROCS champion. He's won in Season 9, the ROCS, with Team Dignitas. He was a substitute on that roster, so, I mean, it already describes a little bit of the class of Ugent. They have an incredible roster. I've seen them play in the Belgian League, and they look incredibly strong, so I can't wait to see them playing on the pitch.
And now, obviously, with this tournament, it's so much bigger than the previous ones. The sponsorship coming through, the opportunities with CRL coming up as well. We're seeing more and more sign-ups. There's a lot more incentives on the line. But Morky, what could you tell us about the teams today going through the Open Qualifier, knowing that they didn't make it in through, you know, getting a high seed in their country's league? Do you think there's any chance that a team from the Open Qualifier could actually make a run in the main tournament?
I think there is. I think they'll be going in with a lot of confidence. I think they'll be feeling good about themselves, be feeling strong, fresh, feeling confident going in. I think that's the big word I want to use, is confidence. Because they'll have played a few games beforehand. They'll have been in that position where they're trying to, you know, not other teams who are just trying to open up their account. They have already played a few games and they've got a great opportunity. Remember as well, you can still sign up for Open Qualifier 3 and 4. Still room available for that. So make sure you sign up if you want to play.
Fair enough. And Formal, would there be any sort of clear favourites for this tournament, would you say? Or going down the line, which are the teams that maybe even through the Open Qualifiers have to perform? Because we know some teams didn't really have the best split just gone, so they have to make this long run. Do you think there's any pressure on any particular teams?
I mean, I would say that all the teams that are coming into this higher seeds, some of them coming in with buys, I mean, Ugent probably being a prime example of this, might have a little bit more pressure on them to perform, just because you want to prove that you were worthy of that seed and you don't want to see yourself kind of slipping further down. That said, because this is only the second Open Qualifier and there's still going to be a couple more after this, I highly doubt the teams that we're expecting to perform are going to be feeling that much. They have so many cushions available for them, not only in the fact that if you drop in your winner's bracket, you have a loser's bracket, not only in the fact that there's going to be 5 teams advancing through today, but also just because there's 2 more Open Qualifiers after this. If nerves are hitting you now, I think you're going to have a lot of problems moving forwards.
Agree with you there completely. Obviously, this isn't even the main event. Now, there are opportunities, you know, if there is a time to get the nerves out of the way, it would be at this stage during the second open qualifier. Maybe then what, you know, other teams, they might just saying, oh, you know what, we'll just leave it until the last qualifier. Maybe more good teams have gotten through and we have our best bet. But then obviously if the nerves set in that fourth qualifier, well, that's it. If you don't get through in that stage, you're just not going to make it to main event. But you know what, Morky, I think we'll throw it to a few little predictions now. And for this first series of the day, who do you think are going to take it?
I love Southampton. I think they're a fantastic team. I think they're very consistent, but ultimately you have to go against, right? You just have to say they're going to win it. They're the better team on paper. They're the better team as well on seeding. So you have to just say that Ugent are probably going to take this. I'm saying they're going to take it in 2 as well.
Take it into, of course, it is only a best of 3, I believe, this game. So if you go behind in that game 1, all of a sudden you have to do the little reverse sweep. Not big reverse sweep, but you still have to win that 2 in a row. So nobody wants to go down straight away. Formal, who do you have taken this game?
I'm going to be a little bit bold with my prediction right here. Maybe say something that could be a bit of a surprise. But not only is Ghent winning, Southampton doesn't even score a goal. I'm predicting 2 shutouts. Ghent cruises their way through into the next round.
Cruises their way through. Dennis, a bit of bias towards you again so far. How would you see this series going?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a Dutch team, it is a Belgian team, but I'm still backing the Belgian team here. It's gonna be Ghent. I talked about Bilbo a little bit already. He's just an incredible player. I've seen this team playing in the Belgian league as well, the Belgian student league, and they played really, really good. It's really good to see a Belgian team popping off so much, and I think they're gonna do exactly the same here against Southampton.
There you have it on the desk. It is 3 votes to 0 in favor of Ugent, and bringing us this first series of today, it will be Formal and Dennis.
All right, yeah, we're going to be able to kick this one off. I think we're still a few moments away from starting this match off, Dennis, but I'm actually going to keep kind of throwing it to you in this one. Any real storylines that we should be looking at developing through the day? Because obviously it's still very new. It's only our second open qualifier, but both these teams did come up short in that first round. What sort of improvements are we looking for out of these 2 teams?
I mean, I'm gonna speak again about the Belgian team, right? Of course, the Belgian teams, they haven't been playing too well in former EURC seasons. But here they are, Ugent Esports, a Belgian team, and I actually think this team actually has the potential to be a strong roster, to be a strong team in the EURC, maybe make it out of groups as well. I think Ugent is that team from Belgium we needed to see, and I'm really excited to see them playing against Southampton Formal.
Yeah, I am as well, because this is going to be a real sort of... It should be a win for Ghent. Like, I'm saying they're going to, you know, not even allow a goal. That's how confident I am they're going to win this. But in a matchup like this, when you are sort of this heavily as a favorite, usually it's a chance we can really see how this team wants to play, what their style, what they want it to be, because they should be able to control the tempo. They should be able to control the style of game that this is. And that's the sort of, like, dominance I'm almost going to be expecting from them coming into this game. Now, Southampton, they can throw a spanner in the works, and I feel like if they get a little bit of momentum, if they put any pressure on Ghent, then things can get a bit interesting, but I just don't really see that happen.
Yeah, for Southampton, it's really going to be important to stop Bilbo from having space, from making chances, from having offenses, and try to push Bilbo as soon as possible. If you don't, of course, you have an ROCS Season and EU champion in that same lobby. You need to stop him down as soon as possible, and it is a best of 3. So series could be done as soon as you might expect. And well, for Ugent, they want to make it short, but Southampton, maybe we can see an underdog story running as we're going to prepare for this game number 1 Formal. We both go for Ugent in this series. You predicted no goals either for Southampton, so let's see in this game number 1 what it's gonna bring.
Watch Southampton score in 10 seconds. That's just how things tend to go. A little bit of a breakaway already, and there it is. Southampton proving me wrong 3 seconds into game number 1.
Oh, what a lovely way to start off this series. Jim Jam with the first goal of this series. And there you go. Your prediction is already wrong, Formal. Ugent are, well, not leading. They're either losing, and Southampton with Jim Jam are able to open up the score in game number 1.
I think that's got to be a record right there for the fastest prediction has gone terribly wrong. Either way, if you're Southampton, this is the exact start that you wanted. The momentum still in your favor from the first round. A best of 3 means you're applying immediate pressure on the favorites in this matchup, and another chance for Southampton as Dark Sun puts it a little bit too high, a bit too eager as well. Ball comes screaming back. Jim Jam barely makes the save. Bilbo misses Zazzles though, and It's as I could have possibly feared. Ugent, they're not looking in form in a best of 3.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you want to have, right? That form in a best of 3. Game number 1, super important already. It's much different than a best of 5 or a best of 7, for example. Here there are 4 minutes to go still in this game number 1. They're still trailing down by 1 single goal. Here we see Bilbo with some control, but gives it away to Jim Jam. Could have done more with the ball potentially. Now see Jim Jam still on the ball, controlling the ball, beats out 1 player. There we go, Tom P up in the air, Bilbo stops him, but still pressure from Southampton. And what is happening to Ugent here?
I mean, Ugent, they're just making unforced errors, and with the way how Southampton is playing, which is very close to the ball, very tight spacing, they're always in position to punish these unforced errors, and now they have a chance for another goal. That shot on target does wind up a little high. Tom P is going to keep it in the box. Dark Sun, the faster player to it, again a little too high, but Jim Jam crosses up and hits the post. That was great by Southampton to create the opportunity. They just weren't able to finish.
And he had this shot opportunity indeed, but he just couldn't get past the last defender. Well, he just shot it wide. It should have been the second there for Southampton, and that's almost... Yeah, how can this happen? Southampton, so much pressure on Ugent in this game number 1. Ugent definitely not having their games of their lives, but here they are in the offense. Bilbo has the ball under control. Bilbo goes for the edge of a bump possibly, but Tom P with an important save.
Yeah, Tom P actually came out of nowhere to make that save. Really well done right now by the Southampton defense as they're going to try to once again create some offense. Look how close Tom P plays to the ball off of that breakaway. They really want to keep that spacing tight, and it's been the winning formula thus far. Until we see Ugent kind of clean up some of their touches, this aggressive style should pay dividends. Although, as you say that, of course, they do fall back. The moment they do, they give up pressure, and it was a swing and a miss from Jim Jam, but unpunished this time by the Ugent side.
Dark Sun. Ball under control, pushes it to the backboard. Bilbo was the right position there. Half time to go in game number 1. Still Southampton with an early goal in the lead. Cecil passes it to Linder, as Linder couldn't really get any single hit on that. Bilbo needs to retreat back. Gonna be a shot opportunity. A little bit awkward there for Bilbo. He has no boost in the tank. Tries to control this ball, beats out 1 player. Can't beat out the second one. No boost in the tank still. Cecils tries to get it past 1, but still pressure from Southampton. This could be the second. What a save. Ooh. And this is going to be a shot opportunity. And Tom P will get it in for the second of Southampton.
Oh, Jim Jam realistically should have been able to hit that shot uncontested in front of the net. But because of the panicked defense all rotating back, coming from the Ugent side, realistically, the tight spacing once again is going to pay off. And you're looking at a Southampton 2-0 lead.
And this is exactly how we wanted Southampton to play, just short and giving Ugent no time at all. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. Ugent just doesn't have time to get out of their defense, and here it is. 2 goals for Southampton as Tom P tries to bring it down. Jim Jam with the ball forwards against the ceiling. Bilbo will get a clear out. Still Dark Sun with control over the ball. Gets damaged on the way though. Cecils tries to get a bump on the last defender. Gets it. Dark Sun is just in time to clear the ball. But there was the big opportunity for Ugent.
It was a misplay though. Linder pulled off of the play as the bump was going through. Had they continued to drive straight, that would have gone into the net. But it looked like they psyched themselves out, or perhaps a miscommunication. It's just another misstep at the end of the day, though, for Ugent, who have never quite seemed in sync. And in a best of 3, you cannot afford these mistakes. Even as the favorite, you're putting yourselves at such a large hole now with just over a minute remaining. Time is kind of running out for our Ugent side. Southampton, they could be going at match point.
Oh, that was a good touch. This is a good touch as well, as Lander will get it in for Ugent with exactly 1 minute to remain. It's Ugent fighting back in this game. We told about the importance of this game number 1. Ugent, of course, know that as well. They want to bring this back, and they do with 1 single goal.
And again, it's kind of panicked defense. This time on the Southampton side, Tom P tried to throw it down to Jim Jam, I believe, but just couldn't quite connect on the pass, and it was a good job by Ugent in order to find that goal. Now, 50 seconds still remain. Still a chance to take this one possibly to an overtime. Jim Jam's shot is high. The demo is there, but the tight spacing this time works against the team in red as Southampton isn't able to find that goal.
But the time is ticking for Ugent. They need to find the offense as soon as possible. Lander with the ball forward, but no follow-up there from anyone from Ugent, and that's what you're hoping for at this stage of the game. Jim Jam with the big clear forwards. Can he bring in the third for Southampton? Just shoots it wide. No follow-up either from Southampton. Tom P with control. Try to waste time possibly with 20 seconds on the clock. Ball into the middle. Jim Jam is waiting for that. Tries to waste time even more. Really, Ugent are in an awkward position here. Still not able to get out of their hole.
Bilbo doesn't doesn't
it's
have
just
boost.
not working for Ugent.
There was no boost there, but they still went for the pass across the middle. This is going to buy all the time needed for Southampton to set themselves up defensively, and yet the ball goes the other way. Oh, a disastrous ending from the Ugent side. Ugent, you keep pronouncing it like in, I think, how it's supposed to be pronounced. I'm going to try and do that eventually.
Yeah.
It's going to go disastrously, but I don't think it will go as bad as their defense in half of these situations because they just felt like they were cold coming into this opening match.
Most definitely. I think they were really cold going into this game. They weren't really, they didn't really have their form. They didn't really connect with each other, and they really struggled to find each other on the pitch. Ugent really played the solo game while Southampton tried to connect with each other, and of course that early goal helped them so much. 5 seconds in that game and they already had a goal on the scoreboard. So Southampton, a banging start to this series. It's gonna be a best of 3 and Southampton in match point.
Yeah, already on match point. And again, when you don't have that luxury of sort of that extra game one cushion to kind of feel out your opponents, Ugent is going to have to try to figure out a way to adapt after only one game. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves, right back down in that loser's bracket, which would be a bit of a disaster for this team. I mean, the expectations for them are to qualify through eventually, either in this open qualifier or in one of the future ones. And not really a good look on this stream game thus far. That said, all you need is one win, and you can turn that momentum right back around. Last time it was an opening kickoff for Southampton, and Darkson nearly gets it again. Jim Jam doesn't find the dunk on Bilbo.
Southampton still really on fire in this game. They tried to score the first goal. It's not happening as of now, but now they're going to watch out in defense. Bilbo with the shot. It's going to go on target. Tompi again with yet another save. But now it's going to be Ugent trying to get that first goal on the board, because I know from last game, it's so important in this series.
Absolutely, and I love how physical we're seeing Ugent get in this one. I mean, every single time they try and follow through, that player who does the initial attack looks for a bump or looks for a demo, as Zazzles kind of proves right there. They really want to be a bit tighter space, though, if they're going to continue with this approach, because they consistently let their opponents get to the ball first. Not this time, though. Zazzles gets the opening goal.
Ugent strike first, but a defensive mistake there from Jim Jam, missing the ball on the backboard. Southampton not being able to retrieve from that. Ugent with the first goal, again in the first minute of the game as well. And this is so important, like I talked about. Zazzles with the first goal and Ugent on a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and again, though, yes, that was a great goal to get, but as you mentioned, it came off of that unforced error. Had things gone Southampton's way, once again, they were going to be the first team to the ball, despite the bump, despite the setup. And that's the biggest thing that Ugent needs to change. They need to be the team that gets that ball first. They need to tighten up the spacing. I like the adaptation of the bumps. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. However, you can't argue with the 1-0 lead right now on their side, so hey, maybe they can't afford to fall back and play a bit more defensively in game number 2.
And exactly, this is how I like to see Ugent playing, although this is a mistake. Yeah, we saw it at Southampton's backboard, but here also in Ugent's defense, things are going wrong. The goal scorer Zazzles is outbeaten. Well, he just mistouched the ball, no touch anymore. And Southampton coming back 1-1 and 2 defensive mistakes in this game.
Yep, and I mean, just added to the list of defensive mistakes that we've seen from this blue side, unfortunately. Really, it's been a lot of missed touches, a lot of missed plays, and now finally they're the faster team to the ball as Bilbo is actually able to find the pass off the backboard, but Linder doesn't want to risk it. Jim Jam is able to create some space.
And it's so important for Ugent to, retrieve back from the defensive mistakes. They know how important this game for them is. The lower bracket you talked about, they're almost in there. If Southampton's win this game, then it's gonna be series done and dusted in this best of 3 series. Tompi with control on the side wall, beats out one. Gonna be Zazzles taking over that ball, tries to get a second touch. Bilbo with the save against the ceiling, not the best touch. Jim Jam can take over, goes for the pass, but Darkson not really in position to do something with the ball. Now gonna be Lander trying to clear out the ball, but it's still 3 minutes. And still Ugent under pressure. Demo coming in even. Maybe this is gonna be the second. Southampton with a chance, but going over to the backboard.
This attack has been so ugly so far for the Southampton side, but they haven't been punished, or have they? Linder tries to take a shot across the middle of the field. Eventually, he's going to be saved by Darkson. However, it should be worth noting, when Southampton is on the attack, they're just throwing themselves at the ball. Spike from Tom P is on point.
Tom P with the goal. Bilbo not being able to get there in time, and Tom P read it as a book. And it's gonna be the second for Southampton, and they'll be so happy they get their 1-goal lead here.
That was such an unfortunate mistake coming from the Ugent defense, but at that same token, Tom P with a double touch to start this stream off. That thing was beautifully executed, and that's the go-ahead goal. That's Southampton currently advancing into the best of 5, so very critical moment right now for our team in blue. If they're going to have to come back in this one, they need to stop making mistakes like that. Zazzle swings and misses. Lindor can't stop Tom P, and here comes Tim Jam, just barely misses out on finding the 2-goal cushion.
Blender going for a chance here. Darkson in the end with a really important save. Is Southampton... Are they going to
Oh, the
prove us
bump!
all-
No!
Oh, that's a bump to Tim Jam with the goal. What is a team bump? Formal.
Oh my goodness, the bump just completely psychs Bilbo out. You can see Tom
Tom
P
P.
going for it. Bilbo hits the brakes, and the ball rolls in. Oh my goodness. I mean, but this goes back to my previous point. The defense from Ugent, they've been sluggish, they've been slow, they haven't been what we expected from them. And credit where credit is due, Southampton, they have been capitalizing on each and every one of their moments.
And now they're just 2 goals up against Ugent. Match point as well, and the pressure is all on Ugent at the moment. A 4th one here could secure the books right now. It's not like that right now. It's going to be a 2-goal lead still. A really comfortable lead, some would say, with 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock. Ugent under a big amount of pressure, still in their own half, trapped in their own half, and Ugent really not having the series they would have hoped for.
Yeah, I mean, every time I'm looking at this team, it seems like 2 players are in the right spot, but there's always someone kind of in an awkward position, not quite where they need to be. And you compare that to Southampton, who are just playing so far forward. As soon as they find that gap in the rotation, they're just always able to jump all over it. Jim Jam now has a chance, isn't going to really find the pass. I mean, I'm not going to say Southampton's game has been perfect. They're very solo on their attacks. They're not relying on passes, but they haven't been needing to because of the mistakes coming from the blue side. As now only 40 seconds remaining, 2 goals required, ball in the box still. Dark Sun, if they find a pass, they could have actually ended the game right there. Instead, we go to our final half minute.
Yeah, you're mentioning 2 goals they need, Ugent, but I can't see it happening here. 30 seconds to go,
No.
technically possible, but the ball is still in the half of Ugent. They haven't been out of half for like 2 minutes now, it feels like, and I think Southampton are really playing this game smart with less time left. They have this game under control, and that's also about the series. They have it under control. A double demo here. Gonna be Jim Jam, who gets demoed on the way, but I think we can call this a series from it. This is gonna be a goal. No Lender with the save, but it's not gonna be possible for Ugent anymore. It's gonna be Southampton clean sweeping Ugent to the lower bracket.
Yep, just as I predicted right there. I can't say anything different about how that one went out. Lindor doesn't find the goal. Look, again, credit where credit is due. Southampton came with a strategy, they came with the team identity, and they executed so much more consistently than Ugent in this one. And that was the exact opposite of what we kind of were expecting coming into this. We expected our blue team to be the one setting the tempo, playing their game of Rocket League and forcing their opponents to adapt. But that's why we play these open qualifiers, and that's why these best of 3s are so dangerous as well, because there just wasn't enough time, unfortunately, for Ugent to be able to adapt and adjust and get into this series. And especially when you sort of look at what these teams are playing for and where these teams want to go, adaptability is going to be so key if you make it to that main event. So obviously for this team in blue, a lot of things they need to improve on. For Southampton, a good start on stream. I'm still not convinced they're a team that's going to be qualifying at the end of the day, but they're making a pretty solid case that this team is better than we thought.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, their next opponents are going to be the UOB Bumblebees, so that's definitely not an easy match either. Maybe we can see a underdog run. We have to see from Southampton, but at least for this series, Ugent, they have been swept to the lower bracket, something we all did not expect. But Southampton, they've proven our predictions really wrong here. I hope to see more from this Southampton side. Maybe we'll see them back tonight, who knows? At least what I know is we're going to a short break, so stay ahead with us. Grab a coffee, grab something to eat, and we'll be right back with you very shortly.